As you can tell, the Jolly Guy is officially 1 year old, which means it's time to do a Q&A. I've got so many questions to answer, so this video will probably take a while. Here we go.
Do you miss your old YouTube account?
To be honest, I actually kinda do miss my account. Despite the hundreds of mistakes I put into the channel, of course. I do still kinda miss it. I do still kinda miss all the videos I did. Though at the same time it was for the better.
Will you remake your old videos from your terminated account?
As much as I'd like to remake my old videos, I'm afraid I can't. Because all the resources I have for Alphabet Adventures and Cyrillic Battle, I have stored, and they aren't really that good anymore. I can't remake Angry Birds World because, you know, they're already up on my channel and they're already as funny as they are. And all the other content I'm not allowed to re-upload or remake because the Jolly Guy will probably meet the same fate as JW.
Is your human models inspired by Mr. Guy the FNAF Addict's style?
I have no idea who that guy is, so there's no way I base my human characters off of his designs. Though he does make pretty good art.
Why did you model Classic Wendy and Classic Crimson if they're not canon?
To be honest, Classic Wendy, Classic Crimson, Withered Wendy and Withered Crimson were originally made for the cancelled third Jolly Horrors game that came even before Curse of Michael even existed. However, since the games were scrapped, they didn't really have a place in the Jolly Horrors lore, so I put them in Apophobia's extras anyway and said that they aren't canon. So if you're wondering why they exist, it's mainly to fill in space, mainly to prevent crappy fan-made versions of them from existing, and mainly because they originally relied on lore of a cancelled game.
Will you publish remakes of your old Five Nights at Freddy's fan games?
I sadly can't do that, because I plan on George Igers being my very last game. I'm sorry.
Why didn't you include One Night at Bonnie's in your video called My 5 Terrible Five Nights at Freddy's fan games?
One Night at Bonnie's just doesn't fit with all the Angry Birds games in the video. I could mention it in a upcoming part 2 or something. I don't know.
Will you do all jump scares from your old Five Nights at Freddy's fan games?
Maybe. That's something I might do. Put a compilation of all the jump scares from all my old FNAF fan games. That is something I might do later. Hey guys, it's Jay again, here to tell you that the jump scare videos are already up. Go watch them.
How you reacted when the AGK Studios series were cancelled?
To be honest, I was actually kind of pissed off that it got cancelled. Especially with the fact that the second rebranded game only lasted less than a month before the entire series decided to just fucking kill itself. Even though it is a time to move on, I am still pretty annoyed at how a series that I just got into got canned very quickly because of very, very high demand for a third game.
What is your favorite color? Why does Keisha in Igers rebranded look the same to her original counterpart from the original Igers?
Here's a little funny story. So when I was redesigning the George Igers characters, I started with George Iger, and then I did Keisha. Keisha looked the exact same, while George Iger, you know, looks more like a tiger now. When I did Miki next, I thought, hang on, since the George Igers characters looked basic before redesigning them, they all look the exact same, why not I make them look different from Keisha? So that is why Keisha looks the same in George Igers rebranded, because I redesigned her first, and then all the other George Igers kids afterward, and they look different from her now. Also, can we please appreciate how fucking pissed off old George Iger looks in his concept? Jesus fuck!
How do you make your jump scare sound so monstrous?
Well, if you take the Curse of Mikhail jump scare sound, for example, I have this sound of me making a weird noise. And let's say I lowered the pitch. And then I take a bit from the Cara di Amadia, whatever it was, at the end. I take a few other sounds and I mash them together and ear rape them to get something like this. And then I added the weird noise I made onto it, and I ended up with this. And then I pitched it up. And that is why I make my jump scare sounds so monstrous.
Will you make a game based on One Jolly Day?
No.
Will you add a custom night to Project J0114?
9!
Will Classic Tweety and Classic Maxi be in one job? Will you make Is the critter based on the original from Tubland 3?
The critter is similar to the original, but I did not base the critter off of the original. Heck, I didn't even have the original in my head when designing the critter.
Why doesn't Crimson have a beak?
One of the main reasons why I believe I didn't give Crimson a beak is to differentiate him from Tweety. That's all I can say.
Do you plan to do something with the scrapped characters from Project J0114? For example, including them in One Jolly Day or in any future games?
Kyle, Anna and Wengo are all already in One Jolly Day. Characters like Spincer, Paula, Chuckington, Piper, Fem, Bill, the rampant characters, and many other characters I do not plan on having in any games.
If you could, can you make a fourth game for Jolly Horrors, or a George Igers 2 or something like that? Like George Igers Phase 2?
George Igers is the fourth Jolly Horrors game. And no, there will not be a George Igers 2, and it will not be called George Igers Phase 2. Not only does that sound stupid, but because it comprehends the entire lore of George Igers. I'm sorry.
About Wendy and Wengo, could you show us the design if they stayed together?
I did not really have an estimate on what Wendy and Wengo look like conjoined, but I believe it looks somewhat like the Pinag Sama, but with different animatronics.
What is your favorite character in the Jolly Saga and what is your favorite character from Jolly 4?
I kinda have a great feeling with George from Jolly 1. He just looks kinda cool, despite how crappy he looks compared to the fucking Good Times! Oh my fucking god, George Goodtime looks so fucking awesome! I think he might be my favorite Jolly 4 character. Same with Jolly Goodtime because of his fucking black colour scheme. Man, I love it.
If you had the chance, would you remake J0114's gameplay?
Thanks to the Game 7's gameplay on the game, I didn't really think through when designing the game's mechanics and stuff, and the gameplay.
I like the secrets that it's throwing in. I don't like the actual gameplay, like I don't like this, but everything surrounding it I actually kind of like.
However, I do not really want to go and reprogram the entire game. Otherwise it would come out in like 2036 or something. It would take that long.
Why do you hate the 2.0 scream of Project J0114?
It's because they all sound like shit. This is why I used the Jolly 1 scream in its entirety in the latest J0114 update. Because the previous screams I used sound like actual crap. Like, I really hate how they sound.
What made Mangle, Bonnet, Stitch, and Puppet relevant to the trilogy?
2 words. Easter egg.
Why doesn't old Keisha exist anymore?
whilst I started redesigning the George Igers characters into what they look like today, I decided that old Keisha was pretty unnecessary, so I phased her out and replaced her with Princess Taffy.
If Golden Tweety's coming to get us, why is she sitting on the parts and service like she's a deactivated animatronic? Is she pretending to be one?
That feature was scrapped as soon as you asked that question. So yeah, Golden Tweety doesn't do that anymore.
What was the inspiration for Dutch and Lewis?
For One Jolly Day episode 8, because I didn't want to reuse characters for police, I decided to make my very own characters to do so. One of them being a golden retriever named Dave and a green lizard named Larry. However, 2 characters with those names already exist, so I changed their names. I changed the dog's name from Dave to Dutch, and I changed the green lizard's name from Larry to Lewis.
Since when did With a Jolly make that canon in One Jolly Day episode 8?
Try not to question One Jolly Day that much. It's only a series I made because I had nothing else to do.
Have you played all of the Jolly games? How would you rank it?
The only Jolly games I actually played was all of Jolly 1 and a little bit of Jolly 2, and nothing else. So I can't really rank the games.
Do you think the Jolly games are graphically good but gameplay bad?
The Jolly games were actually pretty good graphically, but some of them are extremely hard. So hard, I believe Beta Dipsy Gypsy, the guy who asked this question, actually had a very hard time with the Rusty characters.
How did you get into AGK Studio, Charles and Tubby Land?
For AGK Studio, one day in like 2015, I came across Gina's jump scare from the 4th game, and then Leopold's jump scare from Chronicles later on in 2016. All thanks to Iulitum, aka the fucking Friday Night Funkin' guy. For Nightmare at Charles, the first time I encountered that game was through a Sparta remix. And the 3rd game was pretty close to coming out as well, since it was March of 2020. When the game did come out, I managed to find the 3rd game through a Sparta remix by Latex. And that's what got me into Nightmare at Charles. The same thing could be said to Tubbyland, like with AGK Studio. I first saw it from Iulitum, and I became obsessed with it in like 2018 or 19 when I saw all the jump scares. So yeah, that's how I came across these fan games.
What happens next if you finish George Igers Rebranded?
I don't really know, to be honest. I did plan for it to be the final game, so I have no idea what to do now. Probably just take a break from making games for a long time.
What happens if the Jolly guy gets banned?
I honestly have no idea about that either. If 2 YouTube channels of mine end up getting terminated for something crazy, then I'm probably just gonna give up.
How did you come up with Wendy and Crimson in J0114?
Funny story, the reason Wendy exists is thanks to a dream I had before J0114 was made. In that dream, it was Jolly 1, but instead of Jolly, it was Wendy. Basically, Wendy replaced Jolly in this dream while everyone else was the same. And for Crimson, the only reason why Crimson existed was I think I have a better explanation. So, Wendy being based off of a dream is still true, but for the other characters like Crimson, as well as Kyle, Anna and Wengo, they exist so I can replace the Jollibees characters, because don't forget that J0114 was originally supposed to be an As Above So Below remake, until it was changed to its own game. And I ended up scrapping Carl, Anna and Wengo altogether anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I based Crimson off of a red bird because Tweety exists and she is a blue bird, so maybe I can comprehend that by making a red bird.
What is your favorite and least favorite FNAF game?
My favourite FNAF game is going to be Security Breach when it comes out. No denying. Oh, and Sister Location looks cool as well, I guess, and so is FNAF 4.
Will the Doomsday be in OJD or in a other jolly horror game?
No, because both me and the voice actor of Ruby Jolly, Kirby100, agree that the design was a bit too over the top.
Are you proud that you found the true identity of the Pinagsama?
I actually am kind of proud that I found out what the Pinagsama is.
Are you planning on making a Nightmare at Charles series?
No, not really, because I already have enough series. A Nightmare at Charles series does actually sound pretty cool though, but at the same time not really, since there's already enough series that I have.
Why did you make One Jolly Day?
One Jolly Day was originally a little thing I did to celebrate 1,000 subscribers on the Jolly Guy channel. Soon I labelled it as episode 1 of a series, a potential series. Then for 2,000 subscribers I made episode 2. Then for 3,000 subscribers I made episode 3, and so on and so forth. Currently I'm on my 8th episode out of 10. So that leaves 2 more episodes left to be discovered. I didn't really expect One Jolly Day to suddenly have lore, since it was a passion project I made to celebrate each 1,000 subscribers, but I'm still pretty glad that the series is still getting some sort of traction. Like, you know, the first episode has over 500,000 views as of now, so that's good.
What is the plot for George Igers?
I have a whole script of the story if you want to take a look at it at some point.
Why did you create the Jolly Horrors series?
It was all thanks to Jollibee's As Above So Below getting canned. Because it got canned, I got really pissed off and tried to remake the game. However, that didn't really work out since I turned it into its very own game. Thus, Project JO114 was born, I guess. I actually had quite a lot of fun answering them, so, I guess I'll be seeing you later. See you guys.